We've binged Marvel's Iron Fist and found a ton of cool Easter eggs, references, and bits of trivia that you just might have missed. Let's start with the obligatory references to the other Netflix shows that will soon cross over into the superhero team The Defenders. Joy Meacham tells Ward that she hired someone to dig up dirt on the Rand Enterprises board of directors, noting that she was worth every penny when she was sober. This is, of course, the hard-drinking investigator Jessica Jones. Daredevil show gets some mentions, like Danny name-dropping Karen Page of the Daily Bulletin, and when Madame Gao refers to the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. Gao also mentions the man with unbreakable skin, which is none other than Luke Cage. In the comics, Luke and Danny become best friends and team up for a business called Heroes for Hire, so it makes sense why they went heavy with the Luke Cage references. Claire Temple is reading a letter Luke sent to her from jail. It's clear spending time with him has rubbed off on her when at the hospital she says his signature catchphrase, "Sweet Christmas." And she gives Danny one of Luke's t-shirts that has a bullet hole in it. You might also recognize Daryl from episode 10 of Luke Cage when he appears as one of Colleen Wing's students. Now, let's dive into the comic book versions of the Iron Fist cast. Colleen Wing sports a white outfit, a nod to her comic book suit. When entering her cage fight, Colleen calls herself a Daughter of the Dragon, which is a reference to her comic book group Daughters of the Dragon, with Misty Knight, who we met as a cop in Luke Cage. One of the two guys Colleen fights in the cage is former MMA fighter Jay Heron. This is Jimmy Pierce, aka Hitman from the comics, who was also a boxer and at one point went on to become the Punisher. The monk seen in Danny's visions is Lei Kung, better known as the Thunderer, a martial arts master and father of Davos. In the comics, Davos tries to become the Iron Fist but fails to defeat the dragon Shou-Lao. Bitter with resentment, he dons the mantle of the Steel Serpent and becomes a notorious Iron Fist villain. We've actually seen the symbol of the Steel Serpent on Madame Gao's drug packets. We see old video footage of another Iron Fist who is most likely Orson Randall, a character introduced in the immortal Iron Fist comic where the Iron Fist mythology was reinvented. Orson was the previous Iron Fist and the person who told Danny's father Wendell about Kunlun. There's still a mystery about why Wendell got on that plane, as hinted at by Madame Gao, so Orson's involvement may eventually be revealed. In the tape footage, Randall was wearing something close to the traditional Iron Fist costume from the comics. The robes worn by Danny and the other monks are yellow and green as a nod to the classic costume, and the clay bowl Danny made for Joy is also painted those same colors. Some of Madame Gao's fighters are villains for the comics. The woman with the needles is the Bride of Nine Spiders, and Danny's final opponent is the first supervillain Iron Fist ever fought, known as Scythe. Later on, we meet the Drunken Fist fighter Zhu Chang, who is much more mystical in the comics. There, he's a demonic being that hunts the Iron Fists and kills them on their 33rd birthday. Also, his master can eat the egg of the dragon Shou-Lao. Speaking of Shou-Lao, Iron Fist gets his powers after plunging his fist into the molten heart of the dragon. And although we don't see this happen, we do get a brief look at the dragon's glowing eyes in the final episode. The stickers Danny locates under his father's desk have classic Marvel monsters Mangog and Orgo the Unconquerable among them. Jerry Hogarth is a lawyer we've seen on other Netflix shows, but originally she was a man who worked for the Rand Meacham Company and later ran Rand's day-to-day operations. As we enter the home stretch, here are a few more pieces of trivia. Stan Lee gets another cameo as an NYPD officer in the form of a poster glimpsed in the scene where Claire Temple gives Hogarth a $5 bill. When the Meacham siblings are in a meeting, the man tells them they have more YouTube views than that incredible green guy, referring to a video captured of the Incredible Hulk's rampages. The 6th episode of Iron Fist was directed by Wu-Tang Clan's RZA, who starred in a movie called The Man with the Iron Fist and is a notable fan of Kung Fu cinema. At the end of Daredevil Season 2, we found out that Elektra is a black sky and we see the Hand put her deceased body in a stone coffin. In Iron Fist, when Colleen is captured by the Hand, it looks like they're going to drain her blood just like we saw happen to a group of kids in Daredevil. They were doing this to activate a black sky, so the fact that they're still draining blood means that their plans for Elektra aren't done with, and this is a hint at how we'll probably see her again soon. And finally, both Bakuto and Gao make comments about how they're reporting to someone else higher up in the Hand. This has to be Sigourney Weaver's unrevealed character, who will be the big villain in the upcoming Defenders show. Be sure to check out our reviews of all the Iron Fist episodes on IGN.com and stay tuned for more on all of Marvel's Netflix shows, comics, and movies. It's a big ol' universe.